A louder hand clap for His Excellency and Mama. Right about now, they are being received by CVP, which is actually led by Honorable and the Chiefs of the service. Thank you very much for warmly receiving His Excellency. And as soon as
of course, as a government, we shall do our part in formulating the necessary policies and enabling laws to have quality teaching and practice of the profession. In this regard, many of you are aware of the National Teacher Policy approved by the Cabinet in 2019, and subsequent to this policy is the National Teacher Bill 2024 that is now in Parliament for consideration before enactment into law. I encourage all teachers now to make their voices heard by contributing to the shaping of an enabling law that will regulate this noble profession of teaching. It is in your best interest to have safeguards in place for your profession to ensure that the right persons join it, that the profession is practiced in accordance with the expected standards, that those who go astray are also corrected appropriately, but also have provision to let go those who disregard what the profession really stands for. As I said earlier, the context in which the teaching profession is practiced has changed rapidly over the last 30 years, and there is enough evidence to show that this rate of change is not going to slow down any sooner. Therefore, as your voices air out your perspectives, I urge you to look to where we are and where we're going as a country. Do not get stuck in the past or present. You should ask yourself the question, what kind of country do I want to see? And what sort of teacher can help design that future we would like to see? Sometimes human nature holds us back from dreaming big because we only use the eyes of the past and present situation to judge what the future shall be. Our voices, and indeed that of teachers, have words, and words have creative power, for either good or bad. King Solomon wrote in the biblical book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 21, saying, in quotes, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit," unquote. Let teachers use their voices to bring positive, creative, and innovative energy into the teaching profession. But I must say that when you cannot envision the kind of country you want to see, or your great-grandchildren to live in, you may not rightly speak into the kind of teaching profession you desire to make the education system catalyze the transformation journey to that envisioned future for our homeland.
The education we went through was elite education. Education for a few, very few people. You can go and check how many children were in the primary schools by 1962. Very few. You can check how many children were in the primary schools, how many pupils were in the secondary schools. Very few. So the education at that time was for a small number of people, for a few people. But when we came in, we could not accept the idea of elite education. We had to insist on the mass education. That's what the previous speakers were talking about, what Mama was talking about, and what Honorable Kaduchi was talking about. So you have got multiple tasks. First of all, you are trying to make the economy recover from collapse. Secondly, you are trying to make the economy, the other phases I've told you about, to expand and so on. At the same time, you have got this big task of not just dealing with a small number of learners, but dealing with the large number of learners. If we are dealing with a smaller group of learners, we would have few teachers to teach them. And they could be paid very well, the few teachers, to teach a few. But what would be the impact on the country? You have heard what Honorable Kaduchi told you, that because of the mass education, in spite of all the problems we have, the literacy rate has gone from 43% to 76% now. So now, abo muganda wagambira ati abali baseka. You remember the Lugero? Abali baseka bajje bandabe. Those who are laughing at our strategy. Now you see, literacy has gone up. So now when you have this problem of dealing with the recovery of the economy, at the same time dealing with the bigger mass education, mass vaccination, because for everything we do is mass. We try to cover everybody. Mass vaccination, mass education, security for all, to bring peace in the whole country. All this needs money. So what do? This is where now bad planners bring the idea of Banyankole call it okumemerera. I think Baganda call it okumamira. My people told me that in Luo, it is called poro. Sprinkling small. That strategy we don't accept. When we were in the bush fighting, we had a lot of problems, including hunger. We didn't have enough food. If you don't have enough food, what do? If you democratically starve everybody, what will happen when the enemy comes to attack you? That's why I would say, the little food which is there, give more to the people who are on duty today, the ones who are guarding the camp. So if you see the budget of water in 2006 and after, it was quite small compared to what we put in electricity and put in on the roads. Not because we didn't know that water is important, but if you can't do all, what do? Why not start with something that will help you to get to a higher level? Because electricity will mean more factories, more businesses, and that means more taxes and so on. This is the context, I want you to understand. Of course, Mama told you other aspects, like, for instance, the teachers in the private schools are getting less money, but they work more. That one is a challenge. So therefore, our intention is very clear. The economy is growing. You can see the economy is growing quite fast. You have seen inflation is low. Our target is to pay all the public servants well, but also increase the numbers of the public servants.
So we see that particular thing for now. Clearance already is
katibu yasemba tutaweka yaitama tutabaliwa yendandikwa
in Pidgin, in Gulu district. Position 7 is Ms. Betaba Ainongisha, who is the head teacher of Nyakabigo Primary School in Kisoro district. 4 is Kate Nabagala Nansuga, the head teacher of St. Victoria, and also motivating the young lecturers. All schools have such wonderful teachers, and who will ever fail to succeed.
Development and progress of future needs right. Success and enjoyment are
That's the color.
Professions a teacher discovers and makes everybody celebrate the teachers.
Power over to you. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education and Sports, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Public Service, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Gender. I'm expecting audio for the teachers. I'll go right ahead to explain that innovation.
Factory automation. And what is factory automation? In factories nowadays, you see things running automatically, and you wonder how do these things run automatically? To go on, you have to call people from other countries to do the programming of the factory. But now, where do we see this? We see this in ATM machines. We see this in bank products, and all products reach the extreme end.
So this are more paid homes to anyone. Thank you so much again from our
Call of modernizing our country and improving our disaster extinction path.
That is too much for her to bear. When we say she's too down.
It's what we call the pressure cooker, and we have painted it black to absorb the direct solar heat the shortest time possible. And we have been cooking this food for a long time, and the means is prepared.
Thank you very much for Mon College for research and innovation by the European Union for her innovation to lead her to that podium so that she can present to His Excellency the special.
The mighty teacher's day. She's doing her parents spoken word silence, reciting You nurture leaders, ignite hearts inside. With every lesson, a brighter future unfolds. Shaping minds, crafting futures bright. Teachers, dedication and devotion, a guiding light. In classrooms, you sow seeds of might. Nurturing dreams, mentoring men, tending talents, healing men, teaching with passion, fostering growth, dispatching and banishing illiteracy. With every lesson, a heart beats so strong. Kudos to the mentors of our land. Mentoring, guiding with love and knowledge, you help us find our illustrated profound, unfolding every student's soul. Stories of triumph and resilience, of young hearts made bold, wise will, salary increments, bring financial cheer. Science teachers, thrive and live, no longer in fear.
It is essential to elevate the voices of teachers in decision-making processes. Teachers are reflective practitioners and intellectuals whose knowledge, experience, and professional insights are key to educational successes. Recognizing and respecting their role as professionals is vital to restoring their social standing and improving the quality of education worldwide in line with Sustainable Development Goal 4. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, by acknowledging teachers as creative intellectuals and innovative professionals within a new social contract for education, we can protect their labor rights and harness their insights to shape effective educational practices.
We, together with parents, are the only categories of society that God entrusts with every child that is born. Your Excellency, every child who is born a whole human being, but he has a lot of things that need to be developed. And God has chosen the parents and the teachers to enable this child to grow in every way, in mind, in body, in soul, in personality, in character, in values. All these have been given to the two categories, the parents and the teachers. So as we serve in this nation teachers, let us remember that we have a God-given assignment to ensure that every child that comes to our schools receives holistic and quality education and becomes a useful adult, able to develop himself, his family, his community, and our great nation, the Pearl of Africa. Teachers, oye! Teacher education is the cornerstone of government policy in fighting against poverty and is essential for national development. And this is very clear, Your Excellency and Mama and all you present, as it is highlighted in the pillars of our National Vision 2040, but also in the Global Sustainable Development Goal 4. The government of Uganda strongly believes that every child matters and every child can achieve their maximum potential when they access holistic quality education. And this requires quality and dedicated teachers.
This year's theme of the World Teachers' Day, valuing teacher voices towards a new social contract for education, resonates deeply with the challenges, aspirations of teachers in Uganda. It calls for a reevaluation of the social contract surrounding education and emphasizes the critical role of teachers in shaping the new paradigm, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, the recent improvements in the pay enhancement for the science teachers are commendable. Science teachers, where are you? Science teachers. And we are grateful to the government for taking this positive step. This significant decision has had a profound impact on the science teachers nationwide, serving as evidence of the government's commitment to investing in quality education.
And the spirit of this was to recognize those teachers who, on their own initiative, have gone beyond the call of duty to mobilize communities to support education or innovatively use their limited resources to deliver quality education. We've been able to give the teachers what we consider to be reasonable prizes, but also the project took on an international profile where we are able every year to send 6 of the most outstanding teachers for a professional development program in Ireland. And I really want to thank the Irish Embassy and Travel Care for this support.
Professional development opportunities for teachers should be prioritized to ensure that all teachers are equipped with all necessary skills and knowledge to excel in their roles. Investing in continuous training and mentorship programs will benefit the teachers and enhance students' overall learning experience. Improved infrastructure, Your Excellency. In addition, Your Excellency, there is a need to address the challenges of infrastructure resources available in our education institutions. Teachers, we appreciate the interactive approach, but also the productive approach of education that has been introduced. And we urge all our teachers and comrades to ensure that we move up to the standard to ensure that this curriculum development and reform is really realized so that we can have value in our education. Your Excellency, we call upon rolling out this competence-based curriculum to lower levels in the primary section, but also higher levels above secondary, that is in HSC and post-secondary institutions. Through such, Your Excellency, we can have productive education that can answer the development needs of our country. We therefore
efficiently when we power the generator, power from the battery runs the dynamo, and the dynamo produces some voltage that runs the motor. Therefore, the motor is producing current that is 14 volts. Why have we installed the transformer? The transformer is to step up the voltage that is produced by the motor inside this generator from 230 voltage current. And with this 230 volt, we also again step down some percentage of that volt to recharge the battery. Therefore, we don't have to keep on changing the battery as you are using this generator. Now and then, I'm going to plug in this, and I switch the 230 volt that is going to be stepped up by the transformer, and it's an AC, that is alternating current, not direct current. I switch it on, and Ugandans, we are able to see light from our generator. This is also the electric generator by Kongoni College. Aluminum sheet and local metals to make sure that we get to tap the solar radiations from the sun and focus it at one point that we call the principal focus. The problem that we identified in our community that made us come up with this project was deforestation. Most of the households in the villages and in different places in the sub-Saharan regions of Africa, we find out that they use firewood and charcoal.